Jeszcze raz, storm clouds on the horizon. Climate change
is now something that we cannot close our eyes to, and governments all over the world have finally realized that they have to sit up and take notice.
Nie, notice. Napisz to, napisz. Hej, kiedy mówię Piotr, już wszyscy napiszą. Notice.
These are some of the things that many scientists predict will happen if we carry on polluting the atmosphere with CO2 emissions.
Dobrze. Czy jest Piotr Kowalski?
Jest.
A Damian Jastrzębski jest? No Damian, masz książkę? No następny akapit. Short term by the year 2050. More than a third of the world's plant and animal species will have become extinct. Potem?
The ice in the Arctic Sea will melt every summer, causing the extinction of polar bears and many glaciers. For example, on Mount Kilimanjaro will have melted completely. 50% of the world's ski resorts will have closed down.
Fantastyk. A Daniel Bartosiewicz jest? Jest. Nie ma go? Czemu?
Jesteś Bartosiewicz?
Nie chodzi?
Nie, przychodzi, ale ci go nie ma.
A czy jest Tomasz, nasz Tomasz? Tomasz drugi, midterm by the year 2100. Reason. Reason. Nieważne. This means... Moment, widzisz, nie słyszasz mnie. Ej, słuchaj. Ej, bo oni nie zdadzą egzaminu.
Nie zdasz egzaminu.
Serio, to jest strasznie trudne B2, więc jeszcze raz. Island. Pisze Island, ale wymawia island.
Island is like the middives.
Nieważne. Will no longer be
habitable.
Okay.
The number of serious
Coastal
storms and
tsunamis will have co? Will have doubled in northern European cities, example Paris and London, will be having 50 days a year of heat waves when temperatures are over 30 degrees. Dobrze, long term kto przeczyta? Kamil? Damy radę?
Long term by the year 3000.
Yes.
Temperatures will have risen by about 15 degrees. Sea
Levels
will have risen by more than 11 meters.
meters.
Flooding large areas of Bangladesh and many low-lying cities such as London.
Excellent job.
Hundreds of millions of people will be displaced.
Yes.
One third of the world will be suffering from extreme drought.
Yes.
And half the world will be having moderate growth. Tens of millions of Americans will have to emigrate.
Fantastic. Africans. Bardzo mi się podobała, Kamil, wiesz? Bardzo ładnie.
Czytam sobie. Jestem na tym indywidualnym do nauczania. To jest cały tekst.
Jeszcze trochę. Ostatni kawałek. The risk factors. Spójrzcie to jeszcze raz. Strona 44. Assessing the risk. To assess oznacza oceniać. To jest trzecia linijka na samym początku.
Nie jest oceniać.
Strona 44. Jest. Proszę słuchać.
The risk factor. Our daily lives are full of dangers, from driving our cars to cholesterol in our food. But how good are we really at assessing these risks?
To znaczy jeszcze raz to assess, oceniać.
Not very good at all, according to Stephen Levitt and Stephen Dubner, their best-selling book, Freakonomics.
To znaczy freakonomics. Freak to znaczy dziwne. Dziwne. Coś dziwnego.
Parents, they say, take danger very seriously, but they often worry about completely the wrong things. The authors give us an example, the fictional case of a little girl they call Molly.
To znaczy fictional.
Fikcyjny przypadek.
Her parents know that the father of one of her friends keeps a gun in their house, so they decide that Molly is not allowed to play there.
She's not allowed. Nie wypuszczam.
Instead, they feel that Molly would be much safer spending time at another friend's house, where there
To znaczy instead.
are no guns, but there is a swimming pool. You may think this is the right choice, but according to the statistics, you would be wrong. Every year, one child per 11,000 private swimming pools is drowned in the United States.
Is drowned? Nie rozumiem.
Utonęła.
However, only one child is killed by a gun for every million guns. This means that the child is 100 times more likely to die in a swimming accident than because of playing with a gun.
More likely.
Molly's parents are not unique. Generally, people are just not very good at assessing risk. Peter Sandman, a risk consultant at Princeton University in New Jersey, says, the risks that scare people and the risks that kill people are very different things. He compares the dangerous bacteria in our kitchen and diseases such as mad cow disease.
To znaczy disease, to znaczy choroba.
First is very common,
Common. Pospolite.
but for some reason not very frightening.
Frightening. Frightening? Straszne. Pisaliśmy?
The second is extremely rare, but it terrifies us. Risks that
Rare, rzadko. Rzadki. Terrifies to znaczy wrażające.
can control are much less worrying than the risks that you can't control, says Sandman. We can't tell if our meat is infected, whereas we can control how clean our kitchen is.
Infekty to było
This control factor probably explains why flying tends to scare people more than driving.
Tends to. T-N-D. Tak, dokładnie.
Levitt argues, their thinking goes like this. Since I control the car, I'm the one keeping myself safe. Since I have no control of the airplane, I'm at the mercy of external factors. Actually,
At the mercy of. O. Na łaskę.
the question of which is more dangerous is not as simple as many people think. Statistics for the United States show that although many more people die each year in road accidents than in plane crashes, driving isn't necessarily more dangerous.
Necessarily tutaj, co znaczy? Koniecznie to, no.
This is because generally people spend far less time flying than driving. In fact, statistically, the number of deaths for each hour of driving compared with each hour of flying is about the same. So flying and driving carry very similar risks. It is just our lack of control when flying that makes it seem more scary.
Lack of control. Brak kontroli.
Levitt also says that people tend to be much more scared of short-term dangers than long-term ones. The probability of someone being killed in a terrorist attack is infinitely smaller than the probability that this same person will eat too much fatty food and die of heart disease.
Fatty food to no tłuste jedzenie, tak? Junk food. Heart disease to jest zawał, tak?
But the terrorist attack happens now, says Levitt. Death from heart disease is a distant, quiet catastrophe. Terrorist acts lie beyond our control. French fries do not. Finally, there is what Peter Sandman calls the dread factor. That is how horrific we consider something to be.
Co znaczy dread factor? Czynnik strachu.
We are horrified by the thought of being killed in a terrorist attack, but for some reason, we are not horrified by the thought of death from heart disease. Sandman uses the following equation. For most people, risk equals hazard or danger plus outrage or horror. When the hazard is high but the terror is low, people underreact. When the hazard is low and the outrage is high, people overreact. Which is why so many parents will do more to protect their children from a gun accident than from a swimming pool accident. A gun horrifies us, but a swimming pool does not.
To wszystko. Więc overreact, po polsku jeszcze raz, to jest zareagować zbyt mocno. Przereagować, tak? Bardzo ładnie. No więc artykuł nie jest łatwy, ale też nie jest zbyt trudny. Co mamy zrobić? Bo to będzie to samo na B2. Musicie zdecydować, jaki odpowiedź ma być. A, B czy C. Read the article again and answer the questions. Molly's parents worry too much.
Of the wrong thing.
Okay, very good. Having bacteria in our kitchen doesn't worry us because
We can keep our kitchen clean.
Very good. People are more afraid of flying than driving because
Flying is more dangerous.
autor o tym nie mówił. No owszem, wiemy o tym, ale nie mówi o tym.
Znaczy my wiemy, że jest odwrotnie.
No właśnie, to się nawet dwa. Nie to, co myślisz, tylko zobacz, co autor wspomina. Więc to nie. Inną propozycję?
B.
More people die in plane crashes? Czy autor o tym powiedział? Nie powiedział.
Spend far less time flying than driving. Żadnym nie pasuje.